One, two, one, two. Hello, everyone. So, hope you enjoy your Hearth con so far. And I'm Jyc Row, your host for this community musicians panel. And I'm going to ask the first question, which is not really a question. So, can you please introduce yourself?
Oh, never mind, sorry. But I'm AgatanMusic. I'm a singer and songwriter of the Netherlands. And I'm also the singer of the team of the DBM Quak Brony musicians.
Yeah. Hello everyone, how y'all doing? My name is MC Arch. I'm an alcoholic. But I'm a rap hip hop artist from the Netherlands, and it was an honor to share the stage together with my man Quak Brony and AgatanMusic, man. Y'all made it last night.
Hello everyone, my name is Quak Brony, also a musician from the Netherlands, but also an animator and filmmaker. And I'm mostly the producer for the DBM group, and I controlled the music yesterday, so it's really nice to see you again.
I am BlackIceMusic. I'm an electronic music producer. I produce mostly Melbourne Bounce and Future Bounce, and I recently also started DJing. I'm from Germany, by the way. Yeah.
I'm Power to Wall. I started with Hearthwarming as an audio engineer. I'm a producer, DJ, but I'm mostly playing the real hard stuff, as you might have noticed yesterday. But I like to do it stuff. That's me.
Well, I do have one question, but for you, the audience. Did you enjoy the last night performance? Yeah. Not much energy, but okay. you can go this night too. There's also another performance. Okay, well, I'll start with my little memo and ask one of the most basic questions is what got you into music?
Well, the first thing that brought me by music is actually basically how it all started for me in 2015, when I discovered actually one of the first songs basically by Quak Brony actually, and basically also the first song that I've seen was also Proud to be a Brony by Black Griffin, of course, and that actually gave me the idea like, I like this stuff, and basically that's how it all went. I like to create music, and basically later, I started writing my own songs and creating music and do collabs with other musicians.
Awesome. Yeah, so I grew up with hip-hop. I always loved singing. But I also loved the show. Like, I was just YouTubing, nothing special. But then I saw this one very cute video of Flourish. I wasn't even like, oh, My Little Pony. I was like, okay, this is pretty cute. But I can't be the only one. And you know how the story goes, like we've told 100 times, you start with one episode and suddenly you're at the end of season 3, in the middle of the night. So I thought to myself, hey, I can't be the only one who likes this. It's impossible. So I Googled some stuff, also some stuff I shouldn't have Googled. And then I found you guys. Yeah. So that's how I got in. And I thought, hey, I have a love for hip-hop, I have a love for ponies. Why not bring it together? Right? So, yeah, that's how I got in.
Well, how I got into music? Well, I always loved music since I was a little kid, but I got started producing music when I discovered a tutorial on YouTube on how to make hardstyle or house music or something. I discovered FL Studio, and I've been using it ever since. I don't really know. Yeah, I've always been. I always loved music, and I still do, with more genres this time. So that's a bit how I got into music making.
For me, it started with music by Martin Garrix, mostly Big Room. But it wasn't until I got into the pony fandom and listened to Wooden Toaster that I actually tried to produce something myself. And I was just inspired by all the pony music, and I saw or I heard an interview with Wooden Toaster, and he talked about this program, FL Studio 10, which is now very, very old. I still use 11 though. Some people don't like that I still use 11, but and yeah, that's how it started for me.
Well, I'm really old, so I kind of started before the 2000s, creating hardcore in DOS. So it's really old school. Started DJing with the computer, and later on I started with Frutal DJ, moved to Tractor, and now I'm learning playing with CDGs, which are professional, used in clubs, that kind of stuff. I got in contact with My Little Pony when I was watching, of course, a lot of Powerpuff Girls. Everybody knows it probably. And then I heard it was also created by the creator of the Powerpuff Girls, the My Little Pony. So friends of mine watched the first season, and we kind of got hooked to it because of the adult humor in there that we noticed and was like, oh, okay. So we watched it and then we got hooked to it, and I was asked to help with Hearthwarming, and that's when I was asked to do the Dance Revolution there, but also asked to do the audio and DJing there the first time. And it was kind of fun, so I kept helping, and yeah, I'm still here.
I gotta say, I want to add something to the Powerpuff Girls really helped me with being on time on school. Because, dude, that show was made to it wasn't my mom who kept screaming, get out of bed, it wasn't the alarm. No, I knew that at a certain time that show would be on the TV, and I was right there. I love that show. Massive shout out to Lauren Faust, by the way. We love you.
So next question that is more or less kind of related to the previous one is, how would you describe the music that you typically create?
Ooh, that's
A difficult one. Sorry for that.
I would say I mostly do all sorts of kinds of stuff, like little about everything, like electronic music, like orchestral music or future bass. That's everything what I do with together with my friends with collaborating. Actually, I would say it's more also like banging your head with rock songs also, but at the same time also orchestral song that gives you a nice and easy feeling of rest, of course. And for future bass, it's basically also you can dance the hell out of you, but also at the same time it can also give you a nice peace feeling at the same time, actually. So for me, it's kind of actually goes in different directions, actually.
The way I would describe how I make music, that was the question, right? Yeah. Like, the direction I usually go is, of course, mainly hip-hop, like boom bap, hybrid trap, and all that. But not gonna lie, I enjoy singing as well. So sometimes if there's like a good classic tune, like I'm a huge Frank Sinatra fan, I'm like, hell yeah, I want to sing on that. That's cool. That's but yeah, mostly what I do is just, rapping and, that kind of style. So, yeah.
Oh, the question is, how would you describe the music that you typically create?
Well, I've tried a lot of genres, but how I would describe them? The way I want to go with music now is a bit more like I want to get some pop culture tastes into my music. At the moment, I want to make more music which has some gaming elements into it. I think I said the same thing in 2018, but it's still something I really like to do. But that's like, the way I want to go is more like labels like Dubstep Gutter and Tasty Music Network. So yeah, that's how I would describe my style of music that I want to go to and practicing.
I would describe my music as uplifting, probably, while it's still hard-hitting, and I'm trying to get melodic elements into it, even though those genres are usually just made for dancing. Also, I'm trying to get a lot of pony samples in there, of course, because I was once rejected from Cider Party, and they told me to add more pony samples, so I made it a habit of mine to always put pony samples in there. And ponies are amazing, so let's just have more ponies in our songs. Yeah.
For me, it started with trance. That's how I grew up with. I mean, in the time when the gobber scene came up, we were hakken in our school, so that's how I grew up. But I went from a lot of music styles. So I like metal. I'm a drummer for 20 plus years, so I kind of know what I'm doing. But I like to experiment a lot with music. So I went now from harder to harder. This hard style, raw style, terrorcore, speedcore. And now I'm going to Frenchcore because I'm a fan of Seva, which makes a lot of hard tunes. And I'm actually working now on my own Frenchcore remixes. I actually was working on one of the Pony songs to remix into Frenchcore, which I was planning to do after I got my Freestylers remix done, which is still being produced. I got a lot of people on the internet that helps me with mastering, trying out new samples, VSTs, virtual instruments to be applied. So I'm trying to experiment with styles and see what's popular at the moment. And right now, Frenchcore is really going up with Dr. Peacock and Seva. So that's the way I'm going. How harder it is, how better it is. That's how I see it, to be honest. That's my own personal view.
So, it's, if I'm not mistaken, it's already been 9 years, if not more. And after 9 years, what can you say about the show and how did it impact you? It's a big question too.
Ooh, first of all, manly tears as always in the end. Oh yeah, 9 years, yeah. I would say actually the last song gave me one hell of a heart attack actually. You can say it, that's how much impact it gave me. But I guess that song just gave me more motivation, inspiration, to give me more motivation to create more music, to do more collabs, and just give it my all. I don't think I've just given up my best project just yet, and just that song just gave me more and more love. So I don't think I want to quit anytime yet, actually.
Oof. Well, 9 years. Wow, that's a long time. But I want to give y'all a friendly reminder about the fandom, right? I know it kind of seems scary, the show is over and all that, but we're still here, We're still running conventions. Come to TruckCon. It's gonna be huge, man. But I just want to say, I know that I always repeat that you can create a beautiful world, but as long as you believe in one, right? Well, I just want to say, you are the beautiful world I believe in. I know that we might lose some stuff, we might face some stuff, but I just want to give you a friendly reminder that as long as you keep holding on to what you feel, you will always have them, and that way, you can face anything. That's
But by the way, come to Agatan.
Sorry about that. So yeah, after 9 years, what can you say about the show and how did it impact you?
Well, I have not been in the fandom for 9 years. I joined in 2014, and it was because of weird videos and memes. And later on, it went to a My Little Pony in real life video that really attracted me, and music. But what can I say about it? I've never felt like so comfortable in a group, in a community like this, because it's a bit more specific subjects which I can talk to people. And the show, it's a great show. It has nice characters. It has a nice story. It has nice music. Yeah. I really like the show.
It's also not been 9 years for me. It's been probably like 7. I think the show impacted my whole life pretty much. Back then, I never had many friends. I still didn't have many friends until like 2 to 3 years ago. But when I started going to conventions last year and a little before that, I actually made so many new friends. Most of them are actually here. Completely changed my life. So many friends, so many people that I talk to now, so many. It's incredible, and honestly.
Well, I actually followed the My Little Pony series for a while. Then I stopped because I had other things I was watching as well. But I never let go of My Little Pony to watch it because friends of mine are still watching it. I just rolled into the My Little Pony atmosphere, so to speak, from the anime conventions where I was doing the dance game, that kind of stuff. And then I got introduced by the persons that actually started Hearthwarming. But hey, why don't you come and help us with the convention? So I was like, well, yeah, sure, why not? I mean, it's a niche corner, of course, compared to the anime corner. But it grew into this. So yeah, I mean, I wasn't expecting that so many people were all around Europe coming to this convention. So I was impressed. And that's the reason why I also help, because I think it's worth it to do it. So, and that's the reason why I'm still here, and I help because I was asked, and I help. I kind of like to help people, and compared to the My Little Pony, I really got hooked by that Winter Wrap-Up song, that it was a house remix. And I hear that song, I was like, wow, this sounded good. I still listen to it, and it's years old, but it's a great one. And I hear a lot of, I found some sites where they create music from My Little Pony music, or experimenting as well. And some tunes are like, wow, they put a lot of work in there. And I appreciate that kind of, focus on getting a song out that sounds so great that you cannot compare it to professional music that you hear in the electronic scene, and for what people create, or rock music, for example. I appreciate it, so yeah.
Okay, yeah. So, like Arch said, show is over, and I think we'll still keep going to continue and make music. And that leads to my next question is, how do you see the future of music in the Brony fandom?
I think it will always continue to evolve, actually. Like, we see new musicians rise, actually, and sadly we see also some people go, but I think it actually will continue actually to improve and maybe inspire other people also to join us as well.
Definitely. I wanna add on to that, by the way. You might have heard, maybe not, but I'm the founder of Brony hip hop movement called Straight from the Heart. It started in 2017, and it grew out to be huge, massive. So it might seem that things stay small, but I guarantee you, when you delve into that, when you keep going into it, you will find so much talent, so much. As far as I'm concerned, they deserve to be on this stage, right? They do. I'm just, so yeah, the way I see the future of Brony music is gonna keep going on. And even if the cons will stop one day, we won't. Definitely. We'll be out here. We got you back. Brony for life.
What I think of the music scene in the Brony fandom, well, I think I had many opinions about if the Brony fandom will be stable or if it's shrinking or something, but I think that the music scene of the Brony fandom will be stable. I'm always looking at it, for example, at Ponies at Dawn. I still see like, what would it be, 60 or 70 or maybe 80 tracks. Like, we still have enough musicians in the fandom, so I think the music scene will be stable. And I've promised myself, even though the show is over, I will still make Brony music, so I think it will be stable.
I think the same. It will be stable for quite a while. Of course, it's always changing, so old musicians might leave, new always come to the scene. Like, for example, Wooden Toaster hasn't made something in quite a while, or not much. He's still here though, so we might get him back. But there's other musicians, new music styles are evolving. tons of collabs between the artists, collaboration albums, A State of Sugar, Ponies at Dawn. You will always find new music and pony-related music, so I don't think that will die in any time soon.
Well, it's a hard question because you cannot see in the future, of course, what happens. But just because My Little Pony has stopped doesn't mean that the other side of the community will stop. You can see it like for a lot of other things that happened in the past that stopped, and people are like, for example, Stargate. People are still talking about Stargate. I'm still a fan of it. And My Little Pony will not end as well, like with the Powerpuff Girls still being played on television. So My Little Pony will never stop, of course. And like for example, a friend of mine which follows a Fallout version of My Little Pony, he still listens to it, and it's still being, made. So fans will always keep creating stuff. And maybe in the future, Hasbro will say, let's make a new season or start up again the season. So it doesn't mean that they will forever stop. But right now, they probably have something else on their mind. But it doesn't mean that it will end just by this, that the season now stop. But it will still continue, of course, just like the music that will still keep continuing because people will still create their fan-made stuff. So I don't see a problem.
Yeah, and now that I think of it, I think there's a new movie that's coming out somewhere in 2021, end of 2021, I believe, and maybe that will lead to a new generation. So I guess that if there's a new generation of the show of My Little Pony, and if that new generation is as good as Generation 4, sorry. Well, I think that we still have a long, long time in front of us. So, yeah. Next question that was requested by one of the musicians, and I'm going to ask it now is, so I think you've all have performed in the past, and what is the worst thing that happens on stage while performing? Thank you, BlackIceMusic.
Oh man, yes. So this was yesterday. What happened to the performance when it was my turn to perform? When I was performing my second track, actually, I was about to start. Actually, then suddenly the hardcore version was on. Actually, and where I also was banging there. I was like, okay, what's happening now? Actually. So someone actually pressed the button. Actually, so we didn't know.
Pressed itself.
Yeah,
actually, ghosts. Actually, there were ghosts.
It was my fault. I should have muted it, but someone was jumping a little bit too hard, and the button pressed somehow.
So yeah, that was actually a bit of a surprise, actually. But after that, it just went well. Actually, that's pretty much it.
Well, I can tell you from I don't use it. Well, I always perform at cons. I love the Brony Fandom, but sometimes I do performances with like my local band. I've had days where the drummer was like drunk 5 minutes before the set. I've had days where it's just so many crazy stories. But there was also one time in GalaCon 2016 that I lost my job a week before GalaCon, and that kind of but it was still an awesome time nonetheless, and I loved it. The enthusiasm, the love, the vibes, I feel it. So, but when you perform with a local band, make sure your drummer is sober. All right, the rest doesn't matter. Just your drummer. That's.
Well, the biggest mistake. Well, what Agatan mentioned, it was a mistake, but it was the funniest mistake I've ever witnessed. Actually, we were looking back in the hotel because we recorded it, and I was still laughing about it. But I think the biggest mistake I've made was probably in 2018, where something went wrong with mixing. Like, we jumped over to another track, but like, what the hell's happening? I had to go all the way back looking where we at. But it's possibly never flawless. That's one thing with live performances.
I've had my first performance last year in October at LunaFest in Hamburg. And I didn't drink much during the day or during the evening because I didn't want to go to the toilet during the set because it was a long set, 1.5 hours. And during the set, I jumped a lot and my legs got sore and I had a cramp in my leg. And I dropped down to the floor, unable to continue mixing. And I tried to get up again, but I couldn't stand. So we actually had to pull the mixer, the controller down, and I had to continue on the floor. But it still went pretty well, and people actually didn't notice it for some reason. People just told me, yeah, you were gone. I saw you were gone, but the music was still playing, so it worked out. And last evening, I was already feeling my leg getting sore again, so I couldn't jump, but I watched out so it wouldn't happen again. So.
Yeah, for me, nothing. So far, I can imagine nothing really happened that went wrong. But there were some really irritating things because I use by DJing not a MIDI controller, which you guys use. But I got a device that just works without a computer. The problem is, if the device crashes, the device needs to reboot. And that happened a couple of times. But thank God I found a solution to reboot just one of the devices so it doesn't crash the whole set. So one could just keep playing and I could reset the other one. But imagine that happening with 2,000 people in front of you. That's not fun. So that's the only thing I can imagine that went wrong. Or there was one time when I was playing live on the radio and I was going like, yeah, it sounds good. And somehow I forgot to set the gain. So everybody was like saying, put it harder, put it harder. I was like, what? So basically the sound volume was different from the one of the tracks that I was playing. And yeah, that doesn't feel right for me then, if that happens. So yeah, that's the only things I can imagine that went wrong. Thank God nothing dropped on the ground or whatever that you can see on some YouTube videos where people are jumping and you know with the CDGs and then it falls over. And everybody's like, and it's silent, and ooh, thank God.
Okay, so one last question before we go to the audience questions. So, what advice would you have for someone wanting to follow in your footstep?
Ooh, that is a good one. When I actually first started, I actually tried to collaborate actually with other musicians like MC Arch and Quak Brony. Actually, they were the first one that I ever collabed with actually. So basically, I would say if you ever want to start with music, I would say you can start maybe do a collaboration together with a friend or a musician you can ask maybe, and that's that you can know how it feels to do that actually kind of stuff.
Okay, so I'm gonna try to keep this as short as possible. What I like about musicians and just people who love music in general when they get inspirational, you know, like you have the idea like you're gonna change the world, you know, like you're gonna do that. I want to give you some advice, you know, like there will be days where you might think is what I do enough. There might be days where you think, maybe this is just not for me, but I just want to tell you up front, whether if it succeeds or don't, you know, you already made a difference. You already made a difference. You just keep trying, don't give up, and if you feel like giving up, remember why you started. That's all I can say. Yeah.
Well, my advice in music making is, I would probably name try stuff. When you start out, first explore the software a bit or your instrument, and maybe later you can try to remake some of your favorite tracks from your favorite artist. That's how I worked out, and my biggest advice would probably be, if it doesn't work out, please don't force yourself to continue all the way. Like, you're gonna get frustrated, and then you're like, oh, I'm not a good musician. So if it doesn't work out, don't force yourself to continue. Just take a break from the music making, and then maybe try again later. And for me, it turned out to actually work. Like I have some moments that I don't make music for a little while, and then I get back to it, and then it actually works. So that's my advice for you guys.
My number one advice would probably be watch tutorials. I usually don't often watch tutorials. I just try to do it myself, and then it sounds like shit. And then people tell me, just watch a tutorial on it, and then I watch the tutorial and it sounds better. So watch tutorials, get inspiration from your favorite artist or something, listen to music. A big mistake I also did was I stopped listening to any music for a long time because I always got demotivated because I thought people are so good and I can't actually do it like they do it, and I stopped listening to their stuff because I felt like it's much better than mine and I have to get better first before I can compare myself to them. Don't compare yourself to other people, just take them for inspiration.
Well, yeah, I've created a lot of music remixes on SoundCloud, which I use to show people what I made. I started out in DOS with fast trackers before Fruity Loops was there or anything else. Trackers are the most simplest software to remix or to make something out of nothing. It's just basic samples that you load in, and you can make your own patterns, how you want to play a tune, for example. You can create your own drum set, for example. The thing is, then I switched over, of course, to Fruity Loops because trackers are from the past a little bit, of course. The hardcore scene, the trance scene. They're still using it, though, but they're switching to Cubase or Ableton Live or Fruity Loops, for example. What he has said already, watch tutorials. It helps you a lot with how to start. On YouTube there are countless of people that can explain it on a way that you as starter will understand how to use the software or how to load in samples or actually use virtual instruments, which are called VSTs. Those are like synthesizers, effects, equalizers. It's a lot of work, and at start, but when you get used to it, it will go faster and faster. And you can create your own music melodies, which is just basically a piano. So if you know how to make music with piano a little bit here and there, you can create your own patterns and then, make your stuff, so to speak. That's how I did it. I just do it just by watching a little bit how people do it, and then copy it a little bit, and then do my own stuff to it, so it sounds even better. Or that you made your own work, for example. That's how I work. I just try to change a song into my head from, okay, how can I change it so that it is mine? Or you can remix it by, for example, you hear a melody, you make a sample of it or a track pattern, and then you're going to add extra instruments, which are normally not in the song, the original song. And you actually get something better, for example. Then that's how you can start, just by using existing songs. Try to add or change stuff, and then you can work on your own tunes, for example.
Well, yeah, I would say watch tutorials, and of course, if you're a very beginner and just start making music like today, it is normal that at the very beginning your track will not sound like extremely professional, extremely good or stuff, but do not give up. Just keep practicing, because personally I don't believe in such thing as talent or something like that. All I see is hard work. And when you ask people like I know anyone who's really famous or really how to say it, who can create really good quality content, most of the time, well, almost always is hard work, because they made a lot of bad track before, and there's one exceptional track that's standing out. And yeah, it takes time. It takes a lot of time to have a decent quality, but yeah, it's watching tutorials to know what you do, and a lot of work. So yeah, I think there's more or less 20 minutes left to this panel, so we'll start with audience Q&A. So if you have any question, please come up on the microphone there or there, and you can ask your question to everyone or to someone specifically or whatever you want.
Is it on? Yeah. So I would like to know, what is your personal motivation to do music and to get better at doing music?
Personally, I like music. That's mostly that. I like making good orchestral music, and I always want to make something. For example, now it's kind of better, but I always had trouble to express myself correctly, and I find a way through music, and that's why my little slogan is telling story with music, and that's what I try to do. I try to make a track that can tell a story, even though there is no vocals in there. So yeah, that's mainly that, and just because I like it, actually. Nothing more complicated.
For me, what keeps me going with music actually is all sort of styles. What kind of music brings that kind of feeling out of you, like sadness, angerness, loneliness, all sort of actually. For me, music can bring all sorts of feelings actually, and it just can keeps you going, can makes you happy, or can keeps you remembering about the past, your mistakes, that you can keep learning from that actually. And I think that's so wonderful about music. It can also sometimes tell about yourself. I think that's the most wonderful thing about that.
I think my main motivation to make music is definitely music, but it's also you know that you remember one of those movie scenes, right, when you see a huge star on the stage and there's some guy or girl on the stage. I think I want to do that too. I want to be there for that person. I want to be there for that kind of person, you know, to showcase that you can do this. You can do this too, you know. If you keep working hard, you can do this. And what's also my main motivation is, well, the thing is, I also love telling stories, right? I love giving advice in songs. I know I can kind of preach sometimes. I'm honest in that, but you know what? That is also how I met my girlfriend. Yeah, it's yeah. So that, I think that's my main motivation, of course, my girl, and just making music in general and reaching out to people. Like, yeah, that's.
Now, what motivates me to make music is actually just listen to music a lot. I listen to music like almost all day, home, school, public transport, or even when I'm driving. And I do that so I could not just listen, but also study the music I'm listening to. Like listen to what sounds are in a track. And most times when I listen to a track, even here, I'm trying to think like what's in the song, and I'm like, oh, I should try this when I'm home. Like listen to the sounds and then try to make my own version of it. So I think listening to a lot of music and studying it is my motivation to make music. So you can learn a bit from it.
I think I get usually motivated by other people and commercial artists that do better stuff than I do it, and I just want to be as good as them. That's one reason. Second reason is the Pony fandom doesn't have enough bounce music, and I want to change that. And the third reason, which is probably the biggest reason, I get so many people who come to me or hit me up on Discord and say, hey, I like your music, I like what you do, I like what you create, and that just means so much to me, and it always keeps me going and keeps me motivated to make more.
Well, yeah, I technically grew up with music. I mean, my dad played the guitar, and I'm playing in an orchestra, so I started out as a drummer. What gives me motivation? I like to create something which is my own, which I can call my own, which I like. This is my style, and I want to, show it to the people. Like I started out with trance, and then I got in contact with gabber, and so I tried to experiment with that, create my own gabber music, but then in the way how I like it. Like for example, the Freestyler is a really old song, and there were a couple of remixes, and I like, why don't I try to see if I can make it better? Yeah, I just want to make something in the way that I feel like, yeah, this is how it was supposed to be, so to speak. Just create something new out of something that exists already, maybe, or as what you guys probably do, creating your own music and melodies, and see how you can turn it around so it's your thing, where you want to do the thing that you want. Yeah, that's the motivation for me. I lost my producing when my dad passed away 4 or 5 years ago. I just lost completely about producing anything. And afterwards, I went to the Efteling and hear the song, and I was like, I want to make something again. And I started again, and now I'm producing again. It's just, you need something that gives you an euphoric feeling, and which you can think about, and how can I make this even better than what I already hear. And that's how I see it, and that gives me motivation to make something better out of that's already existing.
And there's also one thing I want to add, because that just came up earlier. It's also the impact you can give on people. Because, first of all, I make music for myself because I like doing that. But when there are people who come up to you, some people just say, I like your music, I like your stuff, like BlackIceMusic said. It's great, but when you met someone at a convention or somewhere that just tells you straight away in the eyes, that you saved his life, like he went through something really, really difficult in their life, and while listening to the music, they were really, well, they blatantly said, you saved my life. It's something really amazing, I will try not to cry about that, but it's something that's really gets me, and this is why I keep making music, because of the impact you can give on people, and this is the best thing that can happen, I think.
Cool. Thanks.
No problem.
So, hi there. The question I have is a little bit of a personal question. Is what do you do if you want to change your genre of music? Like, for me, I started off with making trance music. I got a little bit of fame, but as of right now, I'm more of a hardcore. I'm going to this genre right now, and I don't think it's getting well received. And I want to know, maybe you have something in the same way happen to you. Just want to know, how do you go about those things?
Technically, it doesn't happen to me because I really like what I do in orchestral music, but I think I might understand, because, like you said, you made trance music, that's right? So you grew a community that was following you making trance music. And even though you like doing art style music after, maybe those people are not fond of that genre, and this is why it is not well received. But to be fairly honest, the most important thing for you is that you need to do what you want to do. This is the main thing that you need to have in mind, is that if you want to do art style, go for it and make art style. Maybe try to, if you want to have some views or to make your music more recognized, maybe try to find some Facebook group of art style, or some art style site you can submit songs to grow another community in your own already trans community. So yeah, I think that's my point of view. I don't know, you guys, if you...
Basically, Jyc Row already answered already what I actually wanted to tell also.
Okay.
I mean, it's obvious that I like rap and hip hop, but hey, I also do Sinatra covers. I also like to sing. I do Post Malone songs. The thing is, like, do you enjoy what you do?
Yeah.
Then keep doing it. Okay. Go for it, buddy. I'm with you. And I'm sure a lot of other people will, because legit, I was surprised as well to all the reactions you get. So I can guarantee you, it's only gonna help you develop more, you know, and it's a good thing to do, man. You should do it. That's all. Speaking of which, what is your artist name?
My artist name is Night Crow. It's my old name. As of right now, it's Pandemonium.
Awesome. I'm gonna look you up, okay?
Yeah, what I should say, I'm not a bit of the expert about this, because I don't even have a big of a fan base yet, but I'm really motivating you to try a lot of things, a lot of genres and stuff. Mostly when I do new genres, it's probably because friends told me, like, hey, I listen to this genre, can you do something with this? And I'll just try it and I'll post it. And what I do when I post something that's different from my normal style, mostly I'll just make a post like, okay, I've made something different, and comment what you guys think about it. That's what I do when I post something different. But you're totally free to try everything you want. If it's a different style, if you make a switch in genre, of course, go ahead. And maybe it's a bit more playing with different labels, like for me, dubstep. I'm really into dubstep right now, so I'm going to dubstep labels and communities and stuff. But if I want to change to, like, I'm just naming reggaeton, for example, go to a different community about that and talk with people, because there are a lot of people where you can talk to. But you're totally free to do whatever you want.
They already said what I was going to say. Do what you like. You should totally experiment and see if you find a different genre that you like, maybe. If you find something that suits you better and it's easier for you to create it, or you have more fun creating it, then do it. I've been doing dubstep when I started. I then moved over to Big Room, and then moved over to Bounce, and I really love Bounce, and now I'm sticking with it, and I'm currently changing it up a bit to do future Bounce, because I got into that genre, I've been listening to a lot of tracks of that. So yeah, you can always change your style a bit, and if it sounds better to you, that's good.
For me, I got the same problem as you had in the past, and still do. I just create what I like to make. I don't care what other people think, to be honest. If they like it, great. If they don't like it, I don't care. I just keep creating what I like, so that's how I do it. I listen to a lot of different kinds of styles. You're creating hardstyle, I heard. Are you good in it?
I'm still experimenting with the genre and overall, but
okay.
I got better over time.
Okay, example, it's really hard to create a kick and of course the after bass of hardstyle. It sounds very easy. I tried it myself. It's damn hard because you need a lot of equalizing and that kind of stuff to it, and filtering and everything that's possible. Same with hardcore kicks, but now you have virtual instruments that already have those basic filters inside of them, so you just have to apply extra customizations to it. But yeah, I mean, whatever what you like about music, just keep doing it if you like it. I mean, that's how I do it. I went from trance to hardcore to hardstyle. Then I went to raw style. Then I went to Frenchcore. Then up-tempo hardcore. So I go all the way, but I don't care what other people think or what I'm doing. My dad hated hardcore as well, but he still listens to it, what I created, just to give his own opinion about it, even though he didn't like it. And that helped me also to improve my way of producing.
I just want to add up to the kick part. I want to give a little shout out to the guy in the middle there. There's Any Tree. He recently made a track, You Are My Star, featuring Webcake. And he spent 20 hours only on the kick.
That's how hard.
What a mad lad.
So you see how hard it is just to create a good kick, and only the kick is already very important in the song. If you don't have a good kick, your music song probably will feel like it doesn't feel good, just because of the kick already. How the instruments afterwards, that's the different story. But the kick, what he already said, 20 hours for the damn kick.
Eddie, I'd love to know, for that is some galaxy brain stuff, man. Like 20 hours on the kick. What went wrong, dude?
Nothing. It was perfect.
Wow.
It was a perfect kick. If you've listened to the song, I'm going to play it tonight. You can listen to the track. It's a perfect kick.
Yeah, the track is amazing. I can confirm.
All right.
Yo, massive
thanks.
shout out to Webcake, by the way.
Okay, thank you.
Hi. Of the music that you make, what do you prefer to make it for? Like, say, for a game or a trailer, for fun or relaxation? Which do you prefer to make, or why do you prefer to make it?
Can you repeat the question and be more close to the mic, because
Sorry.
I don't know if you
Of the music that you make, what do you prefer to make it for? As in, for a game, for your own personal enjoyment, for other people's? What do you prefer to make for?
Personally, I like to do it for myself. In the future, I would like to submit to some trailer music label to maybe one day in 5 years, 10 years, having a placement in a movie trailer or a video game trailer. But most of the time, I just want to do what I want. So mostly for me.
I personally do it just, like Jyc said, entertain myself, but also for all the others, actually, for hoping to enjoy it, actually. And it's pretty much what I do as for my free time, actually.
I'm very sorry. Could you repeat the question?
What do you prefer to make the music for? Is it for your personal enjoyment or for games, trailers? Which do you prefer?
I think all of it. Like, at the end of the day, it's music. So I guess I'm cool with all of it. I mean, I use music as ventilation. I make music to inspire. I make music to party. So yeah, I guess for everything, it's music. So.
Well, the reason I make music also because I enjoy making music, and the electronic bit I want to use to maybe send to labels. But I'm also currently trying to make more orchestral music, film music, because of I make animations and films, sorry. And I want it to be 100% my content, so that includes music as well. So I'm currently also practicing making music that can be used for background music for animations and film. So those are the two reasons I make music.
Yeah, I make music for pretty much my own enjoyment. It's my hobby. I also make it for the people who like my music, and most likely also for my future live sets, probably, because currently there's not, as I said, not a lot of pony bounce music out there. There's Jyc Brony, there's me, some Silver Hound stuff, but that's about it. So it would be nice to have more of that.
And for me, it's my own enjoyment. That's all I can say. I just like to create something about, like, for example, way ago, I heard the Titanic song. I was like, how does it sound when I make a hardcore version of it? So that was my first remix, I think, which I put most time into it. And I let it listen to my girlfriend at that time. And she loved it, and I was like, oh, I'll just put it on the internet, see what people like it, and people seem to like it somehow. Even though I think like I should put more time putting into it, but when people said they like it, I mean, make more. So I was like, okay, I kept remixing rock songs into harder kicks and that kind of stuff. I mean, more raw, just the better. That's how I've always switched to it. But overall, it was for myself, my own enjoyment. But I loved it, of course, if people said that they liked it as well. On SoundCloud, you just can comment on your sound clips, and that gives you also feedback. You ask people from, how do you like it? Oh, the kick sounds a little bit weird, and okay, how do you then like it? And they explain it, and that's for a next version or a next song that you want to remix, that you can improve yourself better and better until you getting close to the commercial, the professional tunes that like Martin Garrix made in the past or still does. Martin Garrix was who passed away again? Sorry? Avicii was it? Yeah. I mean, this guy was brilliant. I just said that he passed away. He made really great music. It's a loss for the world, because the trance world, so to speak, because he made really nice tunes. And even professional people in the singing scene even let their music remixed by him. So that shows if you improve your remixing, improve your music making, you might get somewhere. But it just has to be something that really pops up out of nowhere, that gives you an euphoric feeling, where people think like, wow, that's what I like to see from people that listen to my music. It happened a few times, but yeah.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So there is not any more questions, I think we can be done for the community musician panel, and we are actually done at 2 p.m. exactly. So thank you very much for listening to us. Hope you enjoyed. Hope we could have answered your questions. And well, thank you very much. And thank you to all the amazing musicians there. And follow them, listen to their music, and enjoy the rest of Hearth Warming Con.
Yeah.
Thank you for making this possible, for having us on the panel, for writing the questions, and for leading the panel.
No problem.
Jyc Row!
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yes, I go.